are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go pop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm at a campsite and I'm going to be sleeping outside in a tent. Have you ever slept in a tent? Camping is great fun. I love being outside in the fresh air and putting up the tent. Tents are made from a thin material like nylon or cotton, which makes them light and easy to put up. But because the walls of the tent are very thin, it can get cold inside at night. So to keep me nice and cosy inside the tent, I'll have to sleep in something that will keep me warm. Do you know what this is? That's right, it's a sleeping bag. But how does a sleeping bag keep us warm? Do you know how a sleeping bag works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Sleeping bag.
A sleeping bag has to be big enough to get inside and zip up. So this one is definitely big enough for me. Now, a sleeping bag doesn't have any heat of its own, but our bodies make heat. So a sleeping bag keeps us warm by trapping the heat we make from our bodies inside the bag. And a sleeping bag can be made of lots of different materials, like down feathers from geese or ducks, or man-made material like polyester. But how does a sleeping bag trap the heat we make from our bodies inside the bag? Well, to find out, we're going to have to take a closer look. A sleeping bag is made up of different layers of material, like a sandwich. On the outside is a smooth protective layer called nylon. On the inside is an insulation layer made from a material called polyester. The polyester insulation layer is made up of compartments called baffles. The baffles hold the polyester in place to make sure that the bag stays warm all over. Polyester is made up of millions of tiny fibres that all crisscross together, and the air is trapped in between these fibres. When our warm bodies get inside the sleeping bag, our body heat warms the air inside too. The polyester insulation layer traps the warm air inside the bag and stops it escaping. It also keeps the cold from outside and the cold from the ground from coming in, keeping our body nice and warm all night long. Isn't it clever how the different layers work together to keep us warm? Shall we see what they look like? This here is the outer layer. It's thin, but tough, and it's water resistant, so it will stop water and damp from getting inside. And then this here is the insulation layer. That's the part with all of the fibres that will trap our body heat to keep us warm. To see the sleeping bags in action, I'm going to use my special camera. It's called a thermal camera, and it shows us how hot or cold things are. I've got two sleeping bags that are exactly the same, and I'm going to get inside one of them and warm up and leave the other one empty. What do you think's going to happen? Let's switch the thermal camera on to find out. Getting into a sleeping bag is easy. You just need to undo a zip. Oh, I like that sound. Can you hear that? It's a really long zip. Now we just need to get in. And zip myself in. This hood at the top will trap in heat to keep my head warm. And if it's really cold, I can pull this little toggle here, so just my face pokes out the top. Right, there we go. Just need to stay in here for a few minutes to warm it up. Wriggling about is a good way to get warm quickly. It's really warm. Right, time's up. Let's see how warm the inside of this sleeping bag is. Wow, look at that. The sleeping bag that I was in is glowing bright red, and that's because it is really warm. That insulation layer has trapped all of my body heat. And the empty sleeping bag is yellow. That's because it is much cooler. How brilliant is that? What did you like most about seeing how sleeping bags work? Do you remember what you call the layer of material that stores all the heat? That's right, it's the insulation layer. Did you hear the sound the zip made when I got inside? And did you see how my body heat changed the colour of my sleeping bag on the thermal camera? It changed to bright red. So the next time you go camping or snuggle up in a sleeping bag, you'll know how it works. Now, when we're at home, to get a good night's sleep, we need to make sure we've got something nice and comfortable to lie on. And it's under here. It's called a mattress, and it's really soft, springy, and comfortable. I love snuggling up and getting cozy in bed, do you? But what's inside a mattress to make it so comfortable? Do you know how a mattress is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Mattress.
To make a mattress, we've come to a mattress factory. It's absolutely huge. They can make 1,000 mattresses here every single day. Making a mattress is a bit like making a big sandwich. Now, the outside of the mattress is called the outer casing, and it's made of thin layers of fabric and a material called wadding. And it's the outside that holds everything together. And inside, you have the filling. Here we have a layer of something called foam, and foam is soft and spongy. It makes the mattress really comfortable to sleep on. And then we have a layer of a material called polyester, and that protects these bits, the soft, springy parts. What do you think's inside here? That's right, it's a spring. A spring is a piece of metal that's been coiled around and fixed into this shape. And it's really strong, so that when you push down on it, it will always spring back to the same shape. And it's what makes a mattress so springy to lie on. But how do you think all of these parts come together? The springs arrive at the factory in big rolls like this. But to use them in mattresses, we need to make them flat. So the rolls are put into this machine, which unravels them into flat beds of springs. Oh, here comes the first one now. It looks a bit like a giant honeycomb. Next, it's the foam layer. This is where the factory keeps all of the foam. But these blocks of foam are far too big for our mattress. So the big blocks of foam get chopped into slices by this foam cutting machine. It's a bit like slicing through a big cake. But what makes foam so squashy? I'm going to use my special camera so we can see the foam in more detail. This is a microscopic camera, which means we can see really small things much bigger. Take a look at this. Whoa, look at that. Can you see? There are hundreds and hundreds of tiny pockets of air inside the foam. It's a little bit like a sponge you might use in the bath. But watch this, when I squash the foam, the air is pushed out of those pockets. And when I let go, the the air rushes back in, and it's the air that makes the foam squashy. It's brilliant, isn't it? Next, the mattress's outer casing is made in a machine which puts thin fabric together with squishy wadding. Wow, this enormous machine is a quilting machine, and its job is to roll and stitch the different layers of material together to make one soft, fatter layer. Can you see all of the thread going over the top of my head? It's like being under a giant spider's web. Can you see the pattern it's making to stitch the layers together? They look like diamonds, don't they? Now it's time to make the sides of the outer casing, called the border. Look how these two robot sewing machines are working together to stitch a circle pattern. This one does the first half, and this one does the other. Clever, isn't it? And soon there's a finished roll of border. So we have the top layer and the borders of the outer casing. Now we just need the bottom, and that's cut here. The guys, they cut 10 at a time. Look how fast that fabric cutter moves. It's like a little remote control car. But it can only move in straight lines, so the round corners are trimmed with a hand cutter. And here we have all of the parts we need to make a mattress. Now it's just time to put it together, like a sandwich. The different layers are fixed together with tiny silver rings. The bottom layer first, then the polyester, the foam filling, and that quilted outer casing. Finally, the border is fixed around the edges. But it's not quite finished yet. This is a tape edging machine, and it's Mark's job to move it all the way around the edges. It's like it's chomping around the edges. Can you hear it? And here we have a finished mattress. All it needs is a plastic coat to keep it clean while it's transported. Then it's popped onto this moving track called a conveyor belt. But where do you think they go? Let's use my special camera to find out. Here we go. They're going on quite a journey, aren't they? They come here to the warehouse where they're stored, ready to be sent out across the country. What did you like most about seeing how mattresses are made? Do you remember what shapes were sewn into the mattress? That's right, they were diamonds. Did you hear the sound the tape edging machine made? And did you see my special camera when we put it on the foam? So, the next time you sleep in a sleeping bag, you'll know how it works. And now you know how a mattress is made to be spongy and soft to sleep on. Right, I think it's tea time. I'll see you soon.